Hi, it's Daphne. Welcome back to my channel. In today's video, I'm going to be doing the mid-year freakout tag. So, as I'm filming this, it's June 15th. I'm not the kind of person this year to be like, oh, I can't believe it's June already. Like, I can believe it's June. You know, I've been busy this year. And I'm having a pretty good day. So I'm excited to do this tag and go through some of the books that I've read this year and some of the things that I'm planning for the second half of the year. So let's get started with the questions. The first question is best book you've read so far in 2023. And for that, I have two answers because it's like nearly impossible to pick your favorite book. And we'll save that for like the end of the year tags. But so far, my top two books I'd say are Jade City and Tomorrow and Tomorrow and Tomorrow. And I'm just realizing that both of these books are like Asian books. This takes place in an urban fantasy world based on multiple Asian cultures. And then this book has a half Asian, half white main character in it. So I've been reading a ton of Asian books this year, and these two were absolutely amazing. If you don't know, Jade City is about these jade wielding warrior gangs. It's very political, it's very character driven, and it's absolutely amazing. I'm reading it for my book club, as I've mentioned a million times in a million videos. And then Tomorrow and Tomorrow is about friendship and love and heartbreak. And the story centers around these two friends, Sam and Sadie, I think their names are, if I remember off the top of my head. Yeah, who decide to build a video game together like in the 90s, and they become very successful. And it's their journey throughout multiple years as being friends and loving each other, but drama and all that stuff. And I just thought it was a beautiful story. It's the kind of writing where you feel like you can really like dive deep into each thing mentioned. Like there's just, it almost makes me wish I was smarter, that I could like really analyze this book even deeper. So I'm excited to maybe one day read it again and see what I take from it on a second pass. The next question is the best sequel of 2023, and for that I have to go with Quarterback Sneak by Candy Steiner. This is the third book in her Red Zone Rivals sports romance series, and this one was just so fun. So this story is between Holden and Julep. Holden is the star quarterback at their college, and Julep is the coach's daughter. And the coach is like, nobody is gonna talk to my daughter or like try to hook up with my daughter. Like, leave her alone. Otherwise, I will ruin your sports career. And it's the romance between Holden and Julep. It has a little bit of darker elements. The two of them have had really heartbreaking things happen to them in their past related to loss of loved ones. There's talk of suicidal thoughts and substance abuse, so just be aware of those trigger warnings in it. But overall, Holden is just such a cinnamon roll hero that just like really works for me. Like he's like alpha because he's the quarterback and he's in charge, but also he's like so cinnamon roll because he loves gardening and he's just like so sweet and patient with Julep. And I just thought he was an amazing character. And I'll probably talk about him again in another question. A new release you haven't read yet, but want to. So I'm excited to read A Ship of Bones and Teeth. This is like a dark Little Mermaid retelling, I've been told, and I haven't read from this author before. This is like her fantasy debut, but I'm excited to give her a try because the hype is increasing, and I kind of want to read it before the hype gets overwhelming, like Fourth Wing level. Like I don't want, like that might ruin it for me, but I am excited to try to get to it this month if I'm lucky, if I can prioritize it, because my TBR is just overwhelming me right now. I haven't even read anything today yet. I gotta get stuff done. I gotta finish more books. I'm in the middle of too many books. So hopefully I can get to that this month. The next question is the most anticipated release for the second half of the year. Okay, so I am not gonna lie to you. I don't ever really look up new releases. I'm like, all the information I get on books is from booktube, so I'm not like looking up articles and stuff on new releases. So I did some Googling to try to find something I might be interested in, but without like reviews and feedback from people online to get an idea of like how good the book is, I'm not like super excited about it unless it's an author I've read from before. But I don't really know anything off the top of my head. So I just picked something kind of random, and that is Things We Left Behind by Lucy Score. This is the third book in her series for, I don't even know, like the first book is Things We Never Got Over, but I haven't even read that yet. But I just love how the books look. I'll put all three of them up for you. It's like, they're very basic, but I just love how colorful they are. They're just like such joyful colors. I don't know, just something about it. And I think I physically own at least 2 Lucy Score books right now, and I haven't read from her at all. I feel like in the romance booktube community, her name's brought up a lot, so I'm like, okay, I trust these people. I trust what you say about Lucy Score. Like, I'm excited to read from her, and this was the only author name that like I saw that had a new release coming out that like I'd be like interested in. So that's what I picked. Take it with a grain of salt. Hi, it's later. I'm actually going to be editing this video probably today, but I remembered a book that's coming out that's not released yet that I'm actually really excited about, and it's Out on a Limb, and this book sounds really good. I know that Ava from Ava's Romance Books, I believe her channel is called, is obsessed with this book. She got an arc of it, and she is just hyping it so much, and I'm really excited about it. This book has disability rep. Our female lead has like a limb difference with her hand, and our male main character has a amputated leg. And I think the story is about an accidental pregnancy and them trying to become co-parents and like slowly falling in love. So yeah, I'm really excited about that one, and I had to jump in to add it for this video. Next question is biggest disappointment, and I went with Restore Me by J.L. Seegers. So I ended up giving this 3 stars, which isn't terrible, but I remember watching Caitlin from That Love Librarian like raving about this book. It is a Black romance story, and I was very excited about it. I hadn't read from this author before, but unfortunately, like, the storytelling was just like not working for me. First off, the book was like way too long. It was way longer than it needed to be. It was about, I don't remember their names, but like the female main character was married to the male main character's best friend, but her husband died like within probably the last 3 years or so, and she was still grieving him, and the best friend has been in love with her for years, since like college, and they're like in their 30s or something now. And it's that romance, and like the setup is really good, and aspects of the story I really enjoyed. Like I loved the pining and all that, but it kind of got distracted with the smut. And I know it's shocking because I love romance, I love all the steamy scenes, but it was just like steamy scene, sexy scene, just like back to back to back after a while. I'm like, can we like yeah, that's fun, but like can we progress the story a little bit more before we jump into another steamy scene? Like, this isn't adding any value to the story. It just didn't feel like it flowed. It was just like so long with things that I didn't need. Like, yeah, of course I really like steam in my books, but like that was just like overkill, and I'm like, can we just get back to the plot a little bit? Like, I never thought I would ever say that, but this book made me do that. So that was disappointing, to say the least, and shocking. The next question is the biggest surprise, and I'm gonna go with The 7 Husbands of Evelyn Hugo. I ended up absolutely loving this book. I gave it 5 stars. This book was like not on my radar at all. It came out on Book of the Month, in freaking 2017. I definitely wasn't subscribed to Book of the Month back then, but I like knew of this book through Book of the Month because it had like won awards and stuff, so it was always at the top of the lists in the add-on section. But I was like never intrigued by the premise, which is pretty much just this old Hollywood actress and her biography about like all the husbands she's had. Clearly, it's like pretty straightforward on the cover. So that didn't really intrigue me. But maybe a year and a half ago, my mom said she read it and she was like, "Oh, it's really, really good." I was like, "Really?" Like, yeah, sure, other people have said that, but like, okay, you're my mom. Like, I'll take your word more to heart. So I was like, okay, maybe I'll just pick it up on Book of the Month and give it a try. So I bought it like a year ago and just let it sit on my shelf for a super long time. And then the other month, I finally decided to read it, and it was actually really, really good. I think Taylor Jenkins Reid's writing really worked for me. She had some stellar lines. The character Evelyn Hugo had such an interesting perspective on life and relationships and on what it means to be like a good person. Does it matter to be a good person? Like, just the discussions had in this book were really interesting, and I had a fabulous time reading it. And it's also queer, if you didn't know, which I didn't really know until after I already bought it, but I was like, oh, even more intriguing. Like, I wonder how it ties in. Like, I kind of had a suspicion that it was Evelyn, but like, I didn't know like what the scenario was and why she had so many husbands. So learning about that aspect of her life was also very interesting. Another book I would clearly recommend. Okay, I'm gonna be repeating a couple of books because they're my favorite books, and they're my favorite books for multiple reasons that suit these questions. So the next question is favorite new author, debut, or new to you, and I'm gonna go with Fonda Lee. This is the first book I've ever read from her, and I loved it. And I already told you why I loved it, so I'm gonna keep it short. The next question is newest fictional crush, and I'm gonna go with Holden from Quarterback Sneak, and then Hilo from Jade City. So Holden, I just absolutely adored him. He's just such a good, strong, heartfelt man. Please read that book. He is a gem, stellar of a man, and not toxic. You know, like some of the guys in some books can be like sexy, but like in real life they'd be really toxic and like don't actually approach women in real life. But like Holden is like a man that's like actually good and nice and amazing and strong and like just all these great things that could actually suit like a real human being. And then Hilo, like, I don't know if he's the best for like real life, but he's pretty cool. He's such a charismatic character. He really knows how to connect with people and make them like love him and want to fight for him and be loyal to him. He's the horn of his clan, which is basically like the military leader. And he is just so charismatic, and he loves his woman, Wen, so much. Like, just seeing how much he loves her, I'm just like, Hilo, you are darling, but also you're terrifying because you can kill people. You know what I mean? So not really great for real life, but like he's pretty hot. Plus he has Jade, right? Like in the story, you have to have Jade on you to wield its power. So most people wear like bracelets and like jewelry. He has the Jade studded into his collarbone, like piercings, like all along his collarbone. Is that not sexy sounding? That sounds so sexy. So love that. The next question is newest favorite character, not necessarily a crush. And I'm just gonna go with Riley from Fair Catch by Candy Steinert. This is the first book in her Red Zone Rivals series. And Riley is pretty cool because she made a promise to her twin brother who got injured in a car accident that she would fulfill his sports dreams for him. So he was in love with football. He really wanted to go to the NFL. So she decides to take that dream up for him by becoming a kicker. And she really succeeds at it in high school, gets recruited to college. And that's kind of where her story starts. So I just think that's so cool, so feminist, so empowering, and just like so sweet. And that's pretty cool of her to do. The next question is a book that made you cry. And I'm going to keep this short again because tomorrow and tomorrow and tomorrow made me cry a ton. There are some very heartbreaking scenes with characters you come to love, or maybe characters that you had a bit of animosity towards because they were getting in the way of certain things that you probably wished would happen, and then you feel so guilty when terrible things happen to that person, and then you cry about it because there's these long dramatic chapters about it, and just like, yeah, this book definitely made me cry. Let me know if you read this book and if you actually shed physical tears, because I definitely shed physical tears reading this. The next question is a book that made me happy, and for this I'm gonna go with Birthday Girl by Penelope Douglas. This isn't like necessarily like a happy book. It's not like a rom-com or anything, but I was just really happy that Penelope Douglas's writing and storytelling has been working for me. This is the second book I read by her. This one is an age gap romance between a new adult woman, she's probably like 19, I think she's 19, and her boyfriend's dad. But the premise sounds kind of creepy, but the way Penelope Douglas writes the story, it makes sense, it's not creepy, it's kind of endearing. So I'm excited to read more of Penelope Douglas's backlist, which makes me really happy. The next question is the most beautiful book I've bought this year, and for that I'm gonna go with Africa Risen. I just think this cover is so beautiful. I love how it looks painted, and I love the mix of like sci-fi and nature in it. And I'm still in the middle of this book. This is a sci-fi fantasy black anthology book, and I recently picked up the audio, which has been increasing my enjoyment of the stories. There are a lot of tricky words that I'm not familiar with, like especially with the African names and some of the just like other languages used in some of the stories, so I like listening to it a lot more, and I'm excited to continue. The next question is, what books do you need to read by the end of the year? And for this, I have 2 books I really want to get to by the end of this year. I mean, obviously I have my TBR, so I want to get to all of those books, but these in particular, I'd be kind of disappointed with myself if I don't prioritize them by the end of the year, because I've kind of had them for a good while. So the first one is Things We Never Got Over by Lucy Score. And I have to read this for the same reasons I said I'm excited about the other one. Because like, if I'm excited about it, and I'm excited about Lucy Score in general, why am I not reading them yet? So I need to read this. I am excited. I feel like Jess from Peace Love Books is always talking about this book and this series, and that she really liked it, and like her kind of circle of romance booktube girls have really liked it. So I need to read this so I can decide if I really like Lucy Score and then continue to buy her books. Even though I really shouldn't physically buy them because they are on KU. But they're pretty, you know what I mean? They're pretty, so I kind of want to buy them, but they're on KU. So we'll see. So I have to read that. And then I also really need to read The Devil and the Dark Water by Stuart Turton. This is a mystery book, not romance. He is the author of The 7.5 Deaths of Evelyn Hardcastle, which I absolutely loved. I gave that book 5 stars. I think it might have been my favorite book of 2022. And this is his other work. So I really want to get to this. This is like a mystery murder on like a boat. I think it's a bit historical. There might be fantasy in it. I wouldn't be surprised if there's fantasy in it because 7.5 Deaths had like fantasy elements in it. So yeah, I really want to get to this. I think I bought this last year, and it's one of those books that I'm like really excited to read and that I'm hoping is going to be 5 stars. So there's a lot of pressure for me to like rate it 5 stars like on myself. Like I put a pressure on myself to rate it 5 stars. So instead of reading it, I just let it sit on my shelves. So I really just got to get to it and find out if I love it as much as his other book. The next question is favorite book community members, and I have a ton, but I'm going to list a few, and I'm going to link all their channels down below so you can easily check them out. So I love Sam and Eliza, obviously. I like DM them pretty much every day. Hannah, I love her. Meredith is also amazing. Becky, Kristen, Maggie, Melody are also really amazing too. And then I want to do a shout out for Emily as well. She has a channel and she's been really active in my Discord lately. So she is really sweet, and I want to give all of these fabulous creators shout outs. So again, all their channels are linked below if you want to check them out and give them some love. So that's it for this video. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please feel free to give it a thumbs up and subscribe down below if you haven't already. I would greatly appreciate it. It obviously helps out my channel, and I will catch you in another video. Bye!